So in this video, we're going to talk about how to find volume of prisms and cylinders. Now, this is the formula for finding volume of prisms and cylinders. That formula will actually work for all prisms and all cylinders. Okay, now what it means is volume is equal to the area of the base shape times the height of the three-dimensional figures. So what this means is area of the base shape. So in this prism, our base shape is a rectangle. So we'd find the area of our base shape and then multiply by the height. Here our base shape is a triangle, so we'd find the area of the triangle first. Here our base shape is a circle, so we'd find area of a circle first. So you do have to know how to find area of these two-dimensional shapes, which was last unit. H, which is height of the three-dimensional figure. I don't like to use the word height because we always think that means bottom to top, but it actually means the distance between the bases. Okay, so if I have a rectangular prism or a cylinder like this, my bases are the top and the bottom, okay? But if I turn it this way, my bases are now the front and the back, or this way, they're the left and the right. So it doesn't matter, that distance between circle to circle is the same no matter how I turn it. So I always say, you know, I'm 6 foot tall. If I'm standing on the ground, I am 6 foot tall. If I lay on my bed or on the floor, I'm still 6 foot tall. You measure my height from top of my head to bottom of my feet, whether I'm standing up or laying down. That is the same thing with three-dimensional figures, okay? So the other thing, we label volume. So surface area we labeled as square units because it's the same thing as area. And so that's square units. This is cubic units. Okay, volume is cubic units, which is units and then the little 3 there to the third. Again, that little 3 does not mean anything mathematically. It is simply so I don't have to write the word cubic because I don't want to. Okay, so cubic units. So if I look at a rectangular prism, hopefully you have this down because I'm going to erase it. Okay, the volume is area of my base shape times my height. Well, my base shape is this rectangle that I'm going to say is in the front. Okay, so there's my length and there's my width because we find area of a rectangle by taking length times width. And then this is the height. I like to change this to a capital H instead of a lowercase because that helps me remember it's a 3D figure. Okay, times the height. So if I do area of my base shape first, it's a rectangle, and that is length times width. So my big B is taking length times width, and then I take that times the height of the three-dimensional figure. In other words, you're doing length times width times height. And I'll do an example of that later. Okay? Here, in a triangle, okay, a triangular prism like this, the area, it is, okay, area of my base shape times the height of my three-dimensional figure, which I like to make a capital H. Area of my base shape is 1/2 base times height of the triangle. So if I look, this right here is my base shape. That's my triangle, okay? And so when I say height of the triangle, I mean that. So if I could draw this off to the side, this is what I'm finding the area of, okay? So this would be my height, and little b, that's the base of my triangle. Don't get that mixed up with area of the base shape, okay? It helps sometimes, I think, to draw the triangle off to the side and find the area of it. And then times the height of the three-dimensional figure, which is why I like the capital H, because little h would be height of the two-dimensional figure, big H would be the height of the three-dimensional. And again, I'll do an example of that. And then our cylinder is also area of the base shape times the height of the three-dimensional figure. Our base shape is a circle, so our area is pi r squared, and then times the height. Okay, so this would be my R, and that would be my H for that. So this is kind of the generic notes. Get those copied down. If you don't yet, hit pause. I'm going to redo this with an actual example. Okay? So if I look at this rectangle, all right, and let's say I have, this is 3 inches, this is 5 inches, and this is 7 inches. Okay, so if I want to find the volume, I want to identify my length, my width, and my height. So I'm going to say this is my length, this is my width, this is my length, and this is my height. Now the great news about a rectangular prism is you can mix those up. Okay, it's length times width times height. So if I take height times length times width, or height times width times length, with multiplication, you can switch the order as much as you want. So you can't really screw up which one is the length, which one is the height, and which one is the width. Basically, you're going to multiply these 3 numbers. So I would take 5 times 3 times 7. Okay, 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 times 7 is 105. Now I need to make sure I label it. It's inches, and it's cubic, because it's volume. So my answer would be 105 cubic inches. Okay, now on to the triangle. Let's say it had the dimension of 12 millimeters, 10 millimeters, and this is 21 millimeters. Okay, so again, this is a triangular prism, so my big B is 1/2 base times height of my 2-dimensional. And so maybe I want to take that and draw it over here and go, okay, I have 12 and 10. And just find the area of the triangle itself. So I would be taking 1/2 times the base of my triangle is 10 and the height of my triangle is 12. And then the height of my 3-dimensional prism is 21. Okay, so I want to make sure that I do that. Now again, it's hard to screw this up because it's pure multiplication and you can switch order around a lot. So now if I take 1/2 times 10, that's 5. 5 times 12 is 60. And 60 times 21 makes it 1,260 cubic millimeters, because I am finding volume. Okay, move this way a little bit for this. So now if I have a cylinder, and this is 3 inches, and this is 10 inches. Okay, this one I do have to know the difference a little more than I did here, okay, because I need to know my radius. So I'm going to take pi, my radius is 3, and then the height of my 3-dimensional figure is 10. So that becomes pi times 9, 3 squared is 9, times 10, and now I can plug that straight into my calculator. Because I'm multiplying by pi, an irrational number, my answer is going to be irrational, which is a nasty decimal, so I want to make sure to round that. So if you round it, it's going to be about 282.74, and again, I want to say cubic inches because it is volume. And so that's how you find volume of prisms and cylinders.